Hi, my name is Mark Victorson. I'm head professional at Pacific Golf Club, and today I want to show you some of our driver fitting and the technologies we use for getting the right club for you. Inside our club fitting studio here at Pacific Golf Club in Brisbane, we've got all the leading manufacturers supplying us with fitting equipment with all different specifications. So when we go through the club fit process, we can combine heads and shafts, find exactly the right sort of specification for the golfer based on their playing characteristics, strengths, etc. Over here we have our software where we, with the use of our Doppler radar, our FlightScope Doppler radar, which is the best in the business, we're able to determine the optimal flight window for a golfer and their golf ball when we change the specifications of the equipment. So when we go through, we find loft, we find the shaft length and the shaft spin type, we find out whether the golfer has a slow or quick tempo, and that influences which shafts and shaft weights they're going to use, and whether the shafts have a kick point at the low down in the shaft, middle of the shaft, or higher up towards the grip, which influences the performance. Golfers come to me and they want to find out exactly what club is going to make them, more often than not, more consistent. That's what golfers seem to want. Distance is great, that's an important thing certainly, but golfers want to consistently drive the ball well. When we use these technologies and our fitting equipment, we can give that person the club that's going to give them the optimal shot. Okay, for this purpose today, what I've done is I've gone and got one of my trainee professionals, Ryan Moke, off the driving range. He was doing some work on the range, so I'm going to get Ryan to demonstrate some of our club fitting and our technologies with the FlightScope. So I'm going to make up a driver that I've already fitted Ryan with previously from our Titleist fitting system, and then I've got another club that I've made up over here which I know is going to be completely wrong. Remember, 85% of golfers playing worldwide have clubs that don't fit them, so we're going to show you and demonstrate the difference between a club that actually fits Ryan. What's your handicap at the moment?
It's 1.
1. So Ryan's a 1 marker. So I'll show you a club that does fit a 1 marker, suitable for Ryan, and I'll show you a club that's completely wrong for the likes of Ryan. So what do you use, a D2 or D3 Titleist?
I use a D3.
D3, so 9.5?
Yep, 9.5.
9.5, and the shaft?
It's a Diamana stiff shaft.
Diamana, okay, a Hina stiff?
Yep.
Okay, that's an X shaft. Let's get a stiff. Okay, what's the setting that you've got that?
My setting's A1.
A1, righto. So, can you just check that's A1? I haven't got my glasses on.
It's A1.
Okay, I'll just do that. Okay, so what we've got with the Titleist system, which is similar to a lot of the other companies in their technologies, they have adjustability in the head, so you can adjust shafts by just unscrewing them, putting another shaft in and screwing it up, and you can also adjust the settings of the head to modify whether the ball, if the ball's going a little bit to the right, you can modify the head so that the ball doesn't go as far to the right. If it's going too far left, again you can modify it back. Same thing if it's going too high or too low, you can modify it. So we're going to go and hit some shots with that. You ready? So for this demonstration, what I've done is I've got Ryan to hit some shots with his driver, which we made up there on the inside the fitting studio a moment ago. And I've also given him a driver that definitely, and I know this, definitely doesn't have enough loft and the shaft's too stiff. So we're going to hit a couple of shots with that. And then we're going to go and have a look at the data that the FlightScope's given us. It'll give us the peak trajectory of the shot, what the descent angle is, total distance, the shot dispersion, so where it's going relative to the centre of the fairway, and also the flight characteristics, speed and golf ball speed as well. So if you can hit a couple of shots for us. Low left.
Low left.
The reason I'm going with the, you keep hitting right. The reason I'm going with the Titleist product is just to show you sort of we're comparing apples with apples. It's exactly the same model, it's the same shaft type, but configured differently. It's got the wrong flex shaft in it, it's got the wrong loft. He's a talented golfer, this kid. He can make most things work, but he can't make this work. Okay, Ryan, here's the data based on those shots you hit. Now, we hit 3 shots with your driver. Your driver is in the orange here. And we hit 3 shots with that X-Flex driver that's the wrong loft, basically. So up here is the optimal flight window. So the shaded area through here is basically where that golf ball should be going. Over here is the loft, ideal launch characteristics, or for you based on your club head speed and your ball speed. So we're looking at somewhere between 12 degrees and 14 degrees for you, and 2,000 to 2,500 RPM. If you don't get enough spin, the ball dives into the ground. If you get too much spin, it balloons up and you don't get any distance. So descent angle is very, very important. Okay, if we have a look over here at the flight with your club, you'll see your club in the orange, much more closely aligned to that perfect flight window. The spin also is down around 2170. Your club head speed's down a little bit, but interestingly, have a look at this. Because it's more consistently struck, okay, we've got an increase in distance with your driver compared to the other driver. The big problem with this other driver is over here when we talk launch angle. It's launching at only 6.22 degrees, so it just doesn't get in the air enough. Now the problem with that, if you see this graphic over here near the flight window, the ball doesn't carry anywhere near as far as your own driver, which is the one in orange. So if you're playing in damp conditions, certainly you'd be sacrificing a whole lot of carry distance. In this case, 30 metres basically. Now if we go to the right hand side of the screen here, you can see the shot dispersion based on those 3 shots. And you can see that in green was the shot dispersion with the incorrectly fitted club, and the shot dispersion with the driver that I fitted you with a few months ago, which we know is right. For you, it's the perfect flight characteristics for you. So all in all, it confirms what we did a few months ago basically is on the money. And driving being such an important part of the game, and people say that you putt for dough and
drive for show
and putt for dough. I think you drive for dough and you putt for more dough. I think it's important to be able to drive it. Golf's a bit like tennis. Game doesn't start until the ball goes in. So if you're trying to search for your golf ball sideways all the time, you're going to battle to get your scoring right. So here, with the driver that we've tested for you, it's confirming that it's got the right flight characteristics. So the things that were different on the one that didn't work for you, we had the wrong shaft flex, and we had the wrong loft. And that's only 2 of about 14 factors that we go through when we check this club fitting out for one of our students or one of our members. So very good, well done.
Thank you.
So as you can see, it's really important to get the right specification club. I mentioned before that 85% of golfers playing worldwide have the wrong club fit. When I became a master club fitter, there were 7 others in the world, so it's been proven over and over again over the years. The game is so difficult, the technology is so good, but when the player and the technology aren't working together, there's problems. That's why the likes of eBay, etc., are full of golf clubs being sold. It's because people buy a club based on a promise from a manufacturer that it's going to be better for them, it's going to hit it further and straighter, but if they don't get the specifications right, the club won't perform like the way it was intended. So we fit golfers here. It's all about game improvement. We're about making golfers more consistently good. Most golfers are consistent, just bad, unfortunately, most of the time. So we're up here doing our best to try and get more drives in the fairway and further up. Cheers.